Welcome back to Washington Journal. We're joined now by Representative Al Green, a Democrat of Texas's 9th District. He's a member of the Financial Services Committee. Congressman, welcome to the program. The Texas Tribune is reporting that the GOP Governor Greg Abbott has signed the redistricting, the new maps. Your district got carved up. Tell us what happened.
Well, thank you for allowing me to explain. The president, by and through the Justice Department, mandated that the state of Texas carve out 5 additional seats for Republicans. And he was very specific with this and indicating that it should be the 9th Congressional District, which is where I happen to currently represent the people. And it would also be the 29th, which is the one that is adjacent to the 9th. Representative Garcia happens to be the representative there, the 33rd out of Dallas, and the 18th, which doesn't have anyone in Congress currently, but has been represented by Jackson Lee and as of late Sylvester Turner, both of whom had their untimely demises, in my opinion, and left that seat vacant. And as a result, the president was able to acquire the assistance of the state of Texas, the governor. And what they did was racial gerrymandering. They decided that they would eliminate the 9th Congressional District as a district that could elect a person of color who happens to be African American. They moved it to another county, over to Liberty County. The 29th, they moved it up north in Houston. And in Dallas, Mark Veazey may be having a challenge, but I think that he could be successful if he chooses to. So the point is this: the President of the United States made a decision, and this decision was based on race. How do we know? Because the letter that was sent to the state of Texas had in it, the last sentence indicated that there was racial gerrymandering that took place to favor African Americans. However, the Attorney General for the state of Texas denied that and said that they don't gerrymander like that in Texas. So I'm in a lawsuit now, have been in lawsuits since I've been in Congress for the most part, defending the 18th and 9th congressional districts, and I'm going to continue to do so. So the president introduced race, but we've reached a point in this country now where if race is introduced by someone and it raises its ugly head, it is difficult for people to respond and say that that's racist. If you say it's racist, you're almost persona non grata at that point. We have to allow people to defend against racism by at least acknowledging that it exists.
Well, let's take a look at what Governor Abbott posted on X as he was signing that redistricting plan.
Governor Greg Abbott, I'm about to sign the law that creates the one big, beautiful map that ensures fairer representation in the United States Congress for Texans. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Patrick, Speaker Burrows, Senator King, Representative Todd Hunter, Representative Cody Vasut, and all of the legislature who stayed in the Capitol and got this law to my desk. Texas is now more red in the United States Congress.
What did you think of what he said? He said that it's a fair representation in Congress.
Well, I think it's grossly unfair because what he's done is eliminated an African American seat in Houston. He combined the 9th District and the 18th. Both were represented by African Americans. And in combining them, he has done what is called cracking and packing, which has been unconstitutional in the past. I don't know what's going to happen with this.
What does that mean, cracking and packing?
When you crack, you cut a district, and then you separate it from some parts of it. And then if you pack, you take those cracked parts and you can push them together. And when you pack them together, you now have another district, but it's not going to be the same as the 2 that you had before for obvious reasons. You've eliminated portions of each of those 2 districts. So they eliminated about 2/3 of the 18th Congressional District, combined it with about 2/3 of the 9th Congressional District, eliminated 2/3 of the 18th, and combined it with 2/3 of the 9th. And as a result, they have now moved the 18th into the 9th. My home is in the 18th now in the new map. The people that I serve
So your home itself is no longer in your district.
is no longer
in
in
the
what
new map.
the
Yeah.
9th congressional district, because they moved it over to another county, Liberty County.
So what does that mean for you? Are you just going to run for the 18th district?
Well, it's important for people to know that I'm not moving into the 18th. The 18th moved into me. That's important. And my constituents in Sunnyside, South Park, Hiram Clark, Fort Bend County. These are all people that I've been representing. And I've said that for now, I won't make an announcement, but it seems logical to me that if I'm going to run, that I would run from the 18th congressional district, because that's where my constituents are.
And would you still be competitive? Could you win that seat?
Well, there will be a lot of money against me. I'm running against the President of the United States of America. There'll be candidates, but it's the President that I'm running against. And there will be an inordinate amount of money against me. So I would assume that I'll be the underdog in the race. If I run, I'm going to put up a good fight. And sometimes underdogs prevail. My hope is that people will understand that I've got a record and that I'm proud of. And they'll understand also that the president should not be able to pick their representatives. This is something that's unacceptable. And I take pride in running against him. And hopefully we'll prevail should I run.
Well, as you know, California lawmakers have redrawn their maps to try to favor Democrats. That's going to go to voters in November. Should other states follow suit? I mean, if the Republicans continue to redraw their maps, the Democrats will continue to redraw their maps. Is it just going to be, is this just going to be an arms race, as it's being called?
Well, the president started this with Texas, and it is racial gerrymandering. And by the way, the only way we can win our lawsuit is to tell the truth and say that it's racial gerrymandering, because the law addresses that in Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. But California is responding. California is not initiating. This is a response. So let's look at the alternatives. The Republicans, as the governor has said, can have 5 additional red seats as he counts them, and California can do nothing. And then the president can possibly use those 5 seats to maintain control of Congress, or California can offset that with 5 seats. And so we're back to where we are now. So California hasn't done anything other than try to maintain the equilibrium that we have currently, which, by the way, I think is unfair, but that's what California is. So when I say unfair, the equilibrium itself is unfair, but I think what California is doing is justified. You have a right to defend. This is a defense. This is not an offense. The president created the offense.
And Representative Al Green, a Democrat of Texas, is with us. And if you'd like to join the conversation, you can do so. Our lines are Democrats, 202-748-8000, Republicans, 202-748-8001, and Independents, 202-748-8002. You can start calling in now to talk to him. What are your thoughts on the Epstein files and the discharge petition?
I have a copy of the discharge petition, okay? And I brought it because, quite frankly, it's very difficult to comprehend how you can be against this. And I'm going to be very terse, but I just want you to know that here's what it says. Resolved that immediately upon adoption of this resolution, the House shall proceed to the consideration in the House of the bill H.R. 185. If you go over to page 2, it tells you what 185 is. This act may be cited as the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Now, what does that do? It indicates here, no later than 30 days after the date of enactment of this act, the Attorney General shall make publicly available records, documents, communications, investigation materials in the possession of the Department of Justice. And flight logs would be included. Any immunity deals would be included. Autopsy reports, documentation of Epstein's detention or death. And then it goes on to say certain personally identifiable information of victims. These are things that you won't include. Now, this is 7 pages. And if you're opposed to this and you have the ability, the power, the awesome power that the president has of simply saying, let's get this done, let's release it, and you don't, why wouldn't people think that there's some sort of cover-up?
So what about the GOP-led House Oversight Committee? They're saying that we are getting those files released. We are subpoenaing documents, and all those files are getting out there.
In some circumstances, too much is not enough. This is one of those cases. Why not let them do whatever they're doing, and why not do this as well? Why would anyone be opposed to this resolution? It gives the appearance of being in favor of something that these documents might reveal, something about the transportation, something about this that might be harmful to people that you don't want to see harmed. And I don't want to see anybody receive an injustice. But the just thing for these persons who were victims and now survivors is to let them have access to this information.
So the critics are saying, why didn't the Biden Justice Department release all these files?
I don't know, and I would have them release it, okay? But we're at the here and now, and in the here and now, I think we have to go forward and release this information. It really is so simple that there's not a lot in here that you can be antithetical to. And for the president to say that he won't do it, it just causes people to immediately have a visceral reaction of you're trying to hide something. That's the visceral response. I think he would do himself a favor if he would move on this, but he won't, because he is a very, very recalcitrant person, quite vindictive, and as such, he's going to hunker down and wait for time to lapse and hope that this will cause all of this to evaporate. But now this is something that's been going on for more than days, more than weeks, more than months. This has been going on for quite some time, and I think those persons who are survivors are entitled to know more about what happened to them as well as others.